शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः तदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। I'm very happy and grateful to be amongst all of you today, amidst so many young devotees at Singapore. To take to the practice of Krishna consciousness at such a young age is really praiseworthy, because as individuals grow up and take up more and more responsibilities in household life or professional life, personal life, the time that is available to practice spiritual life would be very less. And even if time is available, the motivation, the inspiration to perform certain spiritual practices also will be quite limited. Therefore, habits must be cultivated, good habits, good culture must be cultivated and inculcated at the right age. As Prahlad Maharaj says in the Bhagavatam, 7th canto, Kaumara acharya prajno dharman bhagavataiha. Kaumara means at the age of 5, spiritual life must begin. So before 5, children are very innocent, very small, very playful. But right from age of 5, if spiritual practices are nicely inculcated, they become exemplary devotees. We have so many stories of so many great devotees in the Bhagavatam, in the spiritual history of the universe. Parikshit Maharaj, he got the opportunity to see the Lord right when he was in the womb of his mother, before his birth only. Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj also got the opportunity to get spiritually enlightened by Narada Muni when he was in the womb of his mother. Uddhava, when he was 5 years old, he would play with Krishna dolls. And even when his mother was calling him for breakfast, please come and have breakfast and help, he wouldn't come. He so absorbed in playing with the dolls of Krishna, worshipping those dolls. Similarly, we have amongst our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada. At the age of 5, he conducted Jagannath Ratha Yatra. He would cry, I want to conduct Jagannath Ratha Yatra. So many great exalted devotees began their bhakti right from a tender age. Now, all of you in this room have crossed that age. Maybe you are in your early teens or late teens, or have crossed the teens and entered early 20s. Whatever may be your age, you have chosen to practice spiritual life. That's amazing. And some of you must have experience of practicing spiritual life right from your childhood, having taken birth in Krishna conscious families. And some of you must have begun recently, maybe this year only, a couple of years back. But better late than never. So now the context is that all of you have taken the path of Krishna consciousness. And now the challenge in front of you is, how do I balance my academic life and spiritual life? How do I balance my spiritual life and professional life, if some of you are already working? For the next 1 hour or so, we'll try to discuss on this topic. Can you make it little interactive? Is it fine? Okay. I don't want this to be a monologue. Let's have a dialogue. I'm not here to teach or speak only. I wish to hear also. Let me hear from you. Please tell me, what is the purpose of life? Those devotees who are just coming, you can come in front. In front there's a lot of space. At the end it's little crowded. You can come in front. Okay, now tell me, what is the purpose of life? Purpose of human life? Anyone here? Purpose of life? Prabhu is saying. Huh? To go back to Godhead, Prabhu says, at such an advanced age, seniority. Now let's ask the elder boy. Yes, Prabhu, what's the purpose of life, your life?
To understand 3 things: our relationship with Krishna, who we are, we are soul and we are not body.
Okay.
And then serve Krishna and Bhagavad.
Okay. Very good. Very systematic answer. Thank you. Any other answers? What is the purpose of life? Huh? No other answers? What's the purpose of human life? Yes.
To serve Krishna.
To serve Krishna. Okay. I got 3 answers. 2 from kids and 1 from a very senior devotee. If the purpose of life is to serve Krishna, to go back to Godhead, to understand that we are soul, not the body, etc., why are you going to school? Why are you going to college, universities? To study. How is it connected to attaining your purpose of life? Yes?
So that we can preach others and take others with us.
Oh, you are going to school to preach others.
No. So it is
Not for you, for others. Just to do that of other people, you are going to school, not for yourself. Okay, anyone else? Yes.
It's our duty, maybe your duty also.
Duty to go to college. Parents are paying fees. We have to study. Okay, good. Any other thoughtful answers? Yes. Be open. Don't get scared seeing my hairstyle and my color. Okay, I'm like any of you. I came from your stage only. So just treat me like friend. Just speak. Tell me, if the purpose of life is to go back to Godhead, to love Krishna, to serve Krishna, to realize that we are souls, we are not the bodies, what are we doing in the schools and colleges and universities and going to corporates, working so hard? I was told how to balance spiritual life and material life is the topic. Your academic life and spiritual life, you have to balance, that's the topic. So we must have a discussion on this. Yes? What's the purpose of pursuing your academics or a career or corporate growth or professional growth when the purpose of life is to go back to Godhead? I thought Singapore youth will be very interactive and they will not allow me to speak only. Yes, please, don't hesitate.
I think that the purpose is to our academic purpose is to find out our paths that we will travel through in life and where we will go in life, and yeah.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Yes. There are two purposes of life, by the way. One is the immediate purpose, second is the ultimate purpose. Immediate purpose is to study, as you said. You're going to school, you're doing your assignments, you're submitting your projects, you're preparing for your tests. So this is your immediate purpose of life. And if you are already working, then you are going to your workplaces, you are earning your money, you are cooking, you are eating. So there are some immediate purposes of life. And there's an ultimate purpose, which is self-realization, which is, as many of you said, serving Krishna, going back to Krishna and other things. So there is a material purpose, there is a spiritual purpose. But actually speaking, for a devotee, for a spiritual seeker, there is no difference between these two purposes of life. There is no material life for a devotee. For a devotee, the difference between material life and spiritual life doesn't exist, actually speaking. For example, let's see the context of Arjuna. What was Arjuna doing in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita? He picked up his bow and arrows, he mounted on his chariot, and the Supreme Lord Krishna was personally acting as a driver of his chariot, and he was about to fight with his own relatives, the Kauravas. Duryodhana, Dushyasan, Karna, Shukuni, Bhishma, Drona, all these great warriors were standing on the battlefield, and Arjuna was about to shoot arrows upon them and kill them just so that he can get his kingdom back. Okay? That was his immediate purpose. To get his kingdom back, to rule the kingdom, to protect the citizens. As a Kshatriya, that is Kshatriya Dharma, as someone said, it's duty. The duty of a Kshatriya is to protect the innocent citizens and punish the miscreants who may torture the innocent citizens. And it is Duryodhana who was tyrannic and he captured the kingdom of Hastinapur and in a malicious way he took away the kingdom from Pandavas and he started becoming the ruler. So it was the duty of Arjuna to fight back and get his kingdom back. So that is very clear. However, Arjuna became confused at some point. He told Krishna, I will not fight. Why? Because these are my relatives. How can I fight with my relatives? So Arjuna's immediate purpose is to fight and get his kingdom back. But Arjuna forgot that there is an ultimate purpose behind this act. In performing this immediate activity, immediate duty that he has to fight with his own relatives, Arjuna felt that I cannot do this. Better I go out and beg as a beggar, like a Brahmana, than fight with my own relatives and get my kingdom back. Because everything that I will be enjoying later will be tainted with the blood of my relatives, my elders, my worshipable teachers and grandfathers. Therefore, I will not fight. Govinda, I shall not fight, he told Krishna. Then Krishna told Arjuna, your immediate purpose as a Kshatriya is to get your kingdom back and you are not doing it. Second, what is your ultimate purpose? As many of you said, serving Krishna. Why did Krishna descend on this planet? Anyone knows? There are three purposes of Krishna to descend on this planet. Yes?
To protect his devotees,
Hmm.
establish dharma,
Hmm.
and punish the miscreants.
Excellent. Paritrāṇāya sadhūnam vināṣāya ca duṣkrītam dharma samsthapanārthāya sambhavāmi yuge yuge. So these are the three purposes of Krishna: to protect the righteous, to punish the vicious, and to establish righteousness. These are the three purposes of Krishna. Sometimes Krishna personally does these three, and sometimes Krishna appoints his devotees also to perform these three activities. Thus, Arjuna is also supposed to protect the virtuous people, protect devotees. Arjuna is also expected to punish miscreants. Arjuna is also expected to establish dharma. So, Paritrāṇāya sadhūnam vināṣāya duṣkrītam dharma samsthapanārthāya are not just the activities of Krishna, they are the activities of Arjuna also, activities of devotees also. Even we also have to serve and protect innocent people, and we also have to go against dharmic people. We have to establish righteousness. So Arjuna was expected to assist Krishna in establishing these three. That is his ultimate purpose, serving Krishna. So Krishna reminded him of that ultimate purpose. And Arjuna said, okay, I'll do it. I'll fight at the end of Bhagavad Gita, to cut the long story short. So, in short, to summarize what we discussed in the last 5-10 minutes is, for any human being, there are two purposes: an immediate purpose and ultimate purpose. The immediate purpose is self-preservation. The ultimate purpose is self-realization. Self-preservation means you need to maintain your body. Self-realization means you need to realize that you are a soul, part and parcel of Krishna, a servant of Krishna. Right? So these are the two purposes of life. And our discussion will be now how to merge with these two purposes. So, the first purpose is self-realization. In this first purpose is self-preservation. So self-preservation means to maintain the body. So we have two identities, two types of identities. One is a material identity where we identify ourselves as men, women, students, teachers, doctors, actors, then managers, or what else, builders, businessmen. So many designations we have, and they keep changing. Today, many of you may be students. After some time, you can become teachers. So you have different identities. All these identities are connected to the body. I'm the daughter of somebody, I'm the son of somebody, I'm the wife of someone, I'm the husband of someone, I'm the father of someone, I'm the mother of someone. These are multiple identities that we have. And to do justice to all those identities and to perform whatever is required to fulfill those responsibilities is self-preservation. All this will fall under the umbrella of self-preservation. Is it clear? So we have two types of identities. One is the material identity, where we have multiple designations and roles and responsibilities which are temporary in nature. And we also have a permanent identity, that is spiritual identity, as a servant of Krishna, as a soul, as an Amsha of Krishna. So the two purposes of life are connected to these two identities. Identity as body, identity as soul. So bodily identities are, we are men, women, Indians, Americans, etc. Doctors, actors. Then spiritual identities, we are servants of Krishna. So whatever we do in connection with this bodily identity is called self-preservation. There the self is the body. And whatever we do in relationship with this spiritual identity is called self-realization. There the self is soul. Got it? What are the two identities we have? Material and spiritual. Bodily and spiritual. Then what are the two purposes of life in connection to these two identities? Self-preservation and self-realization. So these are the two purposes. Yes, self-realization is definitely the purpose, as many of you said in the beginning, to serve Krishna, to identify ourselves as souls, servants of Krishna. But you can't just chant Hare Krishna and then worship Krishna without having food in life. You have to maintain the body also, right? For you to get up early in the morning and do some sadhana, you need some strength to the body. I am not this body. Therefore, I am not eating. I'm not sleeping. How long can you live without sleeping? Huh? You have to sleep. One day you can do night out. So last night I was more or less doing night out. So night 1:15 or something like that was my flight. So 1:30 till 1:30 or 2 a.m. I was awake. Then again morning 5 o'clock I got up. And whatever 2-3 hours of rest was there, it was also like not so much. So I'm tired because the body cannot take so much. So morning I slept. So point is, although you are not the body, because you are in the body, maintaining the body is also a purpose of life. Is also a priority. You have to sleep. You have to eat. I am not this body. Therefore, I will not feed the body. Okay, you can fast one day. How long can you fast? How many days you can fast, Prabhu? Without food? 1 day. Maximum 1 day, he says. So when we have Nirjala Ekadashi, when we don't eat anything, my God, the next day we have to see how desperate people are. To have a cup of water, little lemon juice, not so easy. So we are not this body, we understand intellectually. But as long as we are in this body, we have so many responsibilities as students, as teachers, as professionals, as mothers, as fathers, as sons, as daughters, as employees of a company, as bosses of a company. We have multiple responsibilities we should not ignore. That's what Arjuna said. Arjuna said, I will ignore my responsibility as a warrior. I will not fight. I will go out and beg. Then Krishna said, no, you cannot do that. How can you do that? You are supposed to do your responsibility. I will just chant Hare Krishna sitting in one corner. No. You can chant, of course, you have to chant, no doubt. But only chanting is not sufficient. You have to contribute something to the society also. You have to maintain your body also. There may be some sages, very exalted, elevated sages. They can sit in some corner of the universe, they can go in some cave or den in some secluded forest, they can live like that. But how many human beings can do that? Can we live like those sages, age-old sages? For 10,000 years they will sit and chant Hare Krishna, chant some whatever mantra, do some meditation, and they can survive without food for 10,000 years. They can survive. But we cannot survive even 1 day. So let's be practical. Do the needful to maintain your body. And that attempt is called self-preservation. That is one purpose of life. Then, while being caught up in this pursuit for self-preservation, don't forget your pursuit for self-realization. How much time you will spend in maintaining the body? You are eating 3 times in a day. Each time maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Say 1 hour will go eating per day. Then you need some rest, body. So you may sleep for 6 hours or 7 hours or 8 hours, whatever. That much time will go. Then you have to maintain the body. I am not the body, so therefore I will not take bath. Doesn't work. You have to take bath, otherwise you will stink. So you take bath, maintain the body that way also. So just for your basic bodily maintenance, at least 8 to 10 hours are going. In eating, sleeping, bathing, cleaning, all that, 8 to 10 hours of a day are going already. What is remaining? 14 hours are remaining. In that, you are studying, you are working, you are doing many other things. That also is centered on body only. How much time is left out for self-realization? There are 2 purposes of life. We cannot eliminate this purpose of self-preservation. But if all our activities are centered on only self-preservation, what happens to our self-realization? What is self-realization? We have to realize ourselves as spiritual beings, not just material beings. We have spiritual identities. We are souls. We are parts of Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mamaivaamsho jiva loke jiva bhutas sanatanaha. Mama eva amsho. All the souls are my amshas, my parts. We are spiritual parts of Krishna. And we are supposed to be serving Krishna and loving Krishna. And in that, there is greatest ecstasy. In our attempt to love Krishna and serve Krishna, there is the greatest bliss that we can experience. And what is the process of cultivating that love for Krishna and service attitude towards Krishna? To chant the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We should study Bhagavatam, we should study Bhagavad Gita, we should associate with devotees, we should worship the deities of the Lord, and we should also discuss about the Lord's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela in our satsang programs. We should serve other devotees. So all these are spiritual activities. These are under the umbrella of self-realization. Then there is something called self-preservation. So when you focus on both and balance both and do both, then you are living a human life very meaningfully, very usefully. Otherwise, we are wasting the human life. Now, how do we balance these two? See, you have to balance two things when these two things are different. But as I said some time back, for a devotee, there is nothing like balancing because material life and spiritual life both are same for him. Now, as students, many of you are studying. You are not studying Krishna book or Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam in your school. You are studying your math, physics, chemistry, geology, botany, information technology, data science, computer science, all that you are studying. How is it connected to Krishna? Please understand, Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha mayyarpitamano buddhir yome bhakta sami prihat mame vaishyasya samshayah. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara. At all times you remember me. Yudhyacha, you perform your yuddha, you perform your fight also. So yuddha is the immediate purpose. Then Anusmara, remembering Krishna is the ultimate purpose. So Arjuna was doing both. So how can you remember Krishna always when you are supposed to do your duty of fighting also? For Arjuna, duty is fighting. For some of you students, your duty is study. And some of you who are professionals, your duty is to serve the company and get some money, salary. So that is your immediate purpose. But Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, you remember me always. At the same time, you perform your yuddha also. You perform your fight also. So there is a connection between these two. If you are fighting in the war, how can you always remember Krishna? If you are always remembering Krishna, how can you fight in the war? So there is a conflict between these two purposes, but Krishna says they are related, they are connected with each other also. Because that yuddha, that fighting Krishna is doing, Arjuna is doing only for the purpose of pleasing Krishna, assisting Krishna. If you remember some time back we discussed, Paritranaya sadhuna vinayashaya cha duskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya. These three things are supposed to be done by Arjuna also. When Arjuna is doing Paritranaya sadhuna vinayashaya cha duskritam, he is assisting Krishna in doing that. Thus, Arjuna's yuddha fight also is a part of Arjuna's service to Krishna. Getting right? Is it clear? So when Arjuna is performing his fight, that fight is also a part of Arjuna's service to Krishna. That material duty of fighting and killing people is not just a material activity, it is a spiritual activity also. Is it clear? Similarly, when you are studying in colleges or schools, or when you are working in your offices, that is also service to Krishna. How is it service to Krishna? I am serving my boss. I am studying physics. How is it service to Krishna? Because we need to do that much to maintain our body. Without maintaining body properly, you cannot chant Hare Krishna. Without sleeping in the night, can you get up early in the morning and chant Hare Krishna? You will do that in Japa. You will sleep. Without eating, will you be able to worship the Lord? You will sleep in Aarti. Without eating. So eating is required, sleeping is required. Whatever you are doing for bodily maintenance is also facilitating your spiritual practices, isn't it? So without maintaining the body, without doing self-preservation, we cannot do anything in relation to self-realization. Therefore, whether you are sleeping or eating or working, all these are also part of your bhakti if you understand that I am doing all these things for Krishna. understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and you have an eternal relationship with Krishna and you are supposed to ultimately reach Him. To reach Him, the medium I have now with me is this body. Right? This body is the only tool that I have to be engaged in His service. When the body is not functioning properly, you cannot do any service. In fact, the Bhagavatam says, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says that sadhana bhakti means engaging your senses in Krishna's service, so that ultimately you develop emotions for Krishna. Sadhana bhakti means to engage your senses in Krishna's service. But if your senses, your body is weak, how can you engage them in Krishna's service? Therefore, maintaining that body, keeping the body fit, nourishing the body is required to serve God, required for self-realization. Therefore, don't become prematurely transcendental, thinking that Krishna is everything, loving service to Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, I don't have to maintain my body. And at the same time, don't just focus only on bodily maintenance and ignore Krishna consciousness. We need to bring both of them together. We need to understand its importance, self-realization's importance also, and importance of self-preservation also. When you bring both of them together, then it is a complete way of living life. And when the purpose is fixed to serve Krishna, to love Krishna, to attain the ultimate goal of life, which is Krishna consciousness, when that purpose is fixed, whatever you do for bodily maintenance, that also becomes a part of your self-realization. Is it clear? Arjuna's fighting in Kurukshetra war is not just Kshatriya Dharma. It's not just the duty of a warrior. It is also the duty of a devotee to serve Krishna by killing the miscreants. Thus, just as Arjuna has made this duty of Kshatriya into a spiritual activity, you can make your duty of studying and working also a spiritual activity by understanding that this is required for my connection with Krishna. Is it clear? So this is how we can bring these two purposes of life together. If we focus only on self-realization and ignore self-preservation, that kind of attempt is unsustainable. If we focus only on self-preservation, if we don't focus on self-realization at all, then we are wasting one life, human life. Thus, bringing both of these purposes of life, self-realization and self-preservation, possible together will make your life more smooth and meaningful. But how do we bring these two together, self-realization and self-preservation together? There is something in the middle that is called self-awareness. We need to be aware of ourselves. Self-awareness. What is our self? Ultimately, we are all souls. That's our supreme spiritual self. But temporarily, we are also these bodies. We have other identities connected to the body. So we should be aware of the self. A king should be aware that I am a king. A soldier should be aware that I am a soldier. A professional should have that self-awareness that I am a professional. I have to behave accordingly. And as a devotee, we need to be aware that we are servants of Krishna. That self-awareness is very important. And how do we come to the stage of self-awareness, constantly be aware of ourselves? What do I need? What does my mind need? What does my body need? So how do we become aware of ourselves? By regularly hearing from bona fide sources, authorized sources. Let me give a simple example. You are going to one place in a car. Okay, you are going to some place in a car. You don't know the way. What do you use now? Nowadays, what people are using while driving? Google Maps. They keep Google Maps there. So the Google Maps will calculate the most optimal path and suggest that if you go in this path, you will reach the destination in 33 minutes. But there are other paths also. You can reach in 44 minutes, you can reach in 50 minutes, you can reach in 2 hours if you go like this. But it calculates the most optimal path and suggests, okay, this is the way you can reach your destination in half an hour or so. So you are following the Google Maps nicely. At some point you have to take a left turn, but by mistake you went straight. Then what does Google Map do now?
It says
It recalculates the path, next optimal path, and says, okay, you have taken you have gone straight instead of taking left turn, fine. After 500 meters, there is another left turn. There you take left, then you take right, then you take left, and then you will go into the path. You must have lost only 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes because of not being aware. Or it will say, fine, you can take a U-turn and then go back again. Then again come to this spot and take this left turn. So it recalculates the path, isn't it? Similarly, when we take guidance from an experienced, seasoned devotee of Krishna, they will suggest what is optimal for our life. Just like Google Maps. I'm not advertising Google Maps here. I'm advertising the path of taking guidance from experienced well-wishers. Because however experienced we may be, however intelligent and analytical we may be, there is always a possibility that we get confused. Even Arjuna got confused. Karpanya doshopahata svabhavah pritchami tvam dharma sammudha chetah yah shreyasya nishchitam brohitatve sishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Karpanya doshopahata svabhavah. Because of my miserly weakness, I am unable to figure out what is the right duty I have. Dharma sammudha chetah. I am confused about my duty as a Kshatriya. My dharma is to fight. But sammudha chetah, I am confused about my duty. Dharma sammudha chetah. Yaha shreyasya nishchitam ruhitanme. What is most suitable to me? What is beneficial and auspicious to me? I am asking you please suggest. Sishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. I am accepting you as my guru. You accept me as your disciple. Thus, I would like to take your guidance. Similarly, in our life also, there are situations where we may get confused. So, we need to take guidance to nicely bring these two purposes of life together: self-realization and self-preservation. Okay, you are doing something for self-preservation, and while doing that, you are compromising on your attempts or activities for self-realization. Or you are getting too caught up in your activities of self-realization, you are compromising on your self-preservation, you are struggling financially, you are struggling in your health. Sometimes devotees become too austere in their sadhana, get up early in the morning, 3:30, although their health doesn't permit them to do so, their age doesn't permit them to do so, they need guidance. Prabhu, better you take rest. Don't get up so early. It's good to do strict sadhana, I'm not against it. But when your body requires some rest, you give that rest to the body. If you have fever, how can you get up so early? Take rest properly. Not 2-3 days, 4 days, you take rest and then you recover nicely. Then you do your sadhana nicely. Because bodily maintenance is required, self-preservation is required. And sometimes people are too caught up in their pursuits of academics or profession or college or whatever. They're too advanced, they're too caught up in that. They don't have time to chant only. They don't have time to come for any spiritual activity, spiritual program. They don't have time to associate with devotees. What will happen then? So they need guidance. How do we balance? They need inspiration. They need motivation. That's why we need guidance. When we keep ourselves under the guidance of some experienced, well-wishing devotees, then we can nicely balance our spiritual and material lives together. And finally come to a stage where we don't differentiate between spiritual and material activities only. Sleeping is also a spiritual activity. Because without sleeping you cannot get up early in the morning and chant Hare Krishna. So you should sleep, you should take rest. So that taking rest or eating food or taking bath, that also can be a spiritual activity if your ultimate aim is to reach Krishna. Don't compromise on your physical health to do spiritual activity, and don't compromise on your spiritual activities by being overly absorbed in bodily maintenance. Do the needful to maintain the body, and create more and more time for spiritual activities. By managing your schedules nicely, effectively, you can create time for spiritual activities. Sometimes devotees or many people are against multitasking. How many of you say multitasking is good? Multitasking is good. How many of you say? Be confident. Present your opinion, not someone else's opinion. Don't look there and there. How many of you say multitasking is bad? Those who did not lift their hands for both options, what am I supposed to understand? Oh, there. Sometimes good and bad. What's your name? Sorry, sometimes. What's your name? Achyuta Gaura. Okay. Did you ever have apple milkshake? Apple milkshake you had? Chiku milkshake you had? Mango milkshake you had? Lemon milkshake you had? Huh? No? Orange milkshake? No. Why not? Why not lemon milkshake? You can have mango milkshake. What's the problem with having lemon milkshake? Yes? Achyuta Gaura, what's your opinion about it? No opinion. You're not sure about it. Yes? Anyone else? Why can't you have lemon milkshake? Because our parents are not making it. I love it. Our parents are not making it. One little girl said that. Why did you not have lemon milkshake every day? My mother never made it. You can't bring them together. Right? So, coming back to our main point, half minute back. When I'm giving examples, sometimes we get caught up in the example, we forget the point already. I was talking about multitasking. You remember? You can have mango milkshake because bringing these two ingredients together, milk and mango, is okay. It's allowed. That can enhance the taste. That will not spoil the dish. But when you mix lemon with milk, will get spoiled. You can have paneer, that's a different thing, but it cannot have it like a shake. Then you will have other problems after some time. Similarly, when two tasks are compatible with each other, then you can do both of them together. Thus, multitasking is good. You can be more effective, more efficient, more productive, save time by doing two things together. Multitasking. I'm not endorsing what we discussed on occasion. She is reading. There is a complaint that our kids are reading while taking prasad. Multitasking can they do it? So something in connection to this is when the two tasks are compatible with each other, then you can do them together. But when two tasks are not compatible with each other, then better do them separately. So thus, when you become expert in doing certain activities, you can do 2-3 things simultaneously, parallelly. For example, a cook is there, have to focus only on one thing at a time. The cook will put rice for boiling. 20 minutes he will observe the rice, boiled or not. Khatam ho gaya? Then I have to prepare for sabji. Then they will take potatoes and they will cut it. They will cut it. Then they will take beans and they will cut. They will take carrot and they will cut. And they make sabji. So that will take another half an hour. Then they will start making chapati dough. They will start rolling chapatis. And you can put rice for boiling. You can roll chapatis. Parallelly, you can nicely roast the chapatis. You can save time. While the chapati is being roasted nicely, you can roll another chapati, right? Because you can save time, right? Multitasking is important. If the cook has to make each item 10 items one by one, it will take 10 hours to complete the cooking. But if you can optimize your time, you can make 3-4 items simultaneously, 4-5 items simultaneously, without compromising on the quality, then you can finish the cooking in 1 hour only, isn't it? Similarly, when you are doing your activities for self-preservation, try to optimize your time. Try to optimize your time, minimize your time, do things more expertly, and don't waste so much of your time. Nowadays, these phones are taking away a lot of our time. By minimizing your time and doing some trivial activities, you can save time for self-preservation, self-realization. Self-preservation is taking so much of your schedule, but we need to also focus on self-realization. How much time we have?
Yeah, we want to have some questions also.
Yeah, we'll have now.
Yeah, so till about 5:50.
Okay. What's the time now?
4:55.
Okay. So, by taking guidance from experienced well-wishers and practitioners of bhakti, and by also optimizing one's time in doing your activities, you can be more effective in fulfilling the both purposes of your life, self-preservation and self-realization. Otherwise, we get lost. We need to manage our time. And effective time management is very much supported by effective attention management and effective priority management. I'll conclude with a small formula for all of you. Time management. Recently, I was speaking about this only in Melbourne, Brisbane, and Sydney. Time management for young devotees and everybody actually. From the book Mindful Living. Time management means T for time, P for A for attention, P for priority. You need to allocate time to all the important tasks that you have in your day. But if you don't give the necessary attention that the task requires, you will end up doing the task in double the time. Let me give an example. In our temple, we have the service of washing the Lord's vessels. There are Achaman cups. Have you seen Achaman cups? Copper cups? See, there's a copper cup there. Is it copper or there's a copper cup? If copper cups have to be cleaned, you can do it better by immersing the copper cups in tamarind water. So we have a big vessel filled with tamarind water. We keep all these copper cups in that tamarind water. And tamarind, when it comes in contact with copper will automatically become clean. And later you can just put some soap and then rinse it, and then it's shiny pink, bright pink. So one day I went to wash the vessels in the deity room. Then I found that one cup is floating on this tamarind water. Half of the cup is immersed inside the water, half the cup is above the water. Then I picked it up. Half is shining pink, then half is blackish. Then I started scrubbing it with Vim bar. I was scrubbing, nothing is happening. So I thought it wise to immerse it back in tamarind water so that it can go deep. Meanwhile, I washed all the other vessels, and after 15-20 minutes I came back to this. By this time this cup became clean. The lesson here is, when we immerse ourselves in an activity only partially, we'll get only partial results. Because the copper cup is not fully immersed in tamarind water, it is not fully clean. Similarly, when you are doing an activity, we have allocated time 1 hour to study your physics subject, you are reading. But in that 1 hour, if you don't fully concentrate, if you are not very attentive in that 1 hour, then 1 hour study time is as good as 10 minutes or 15 minutes study time. But if you are very attentive, very focused, that 1 hour is equal to 2 hours also. Right? So, apart from managing your time and allocating time of your 24 hours to different activities that you are supposed to be doing, you should also allocate, you should also be attentive. Time management and attention management. You allocate time, but if you are not attentive in what you are doing, then the time is underutilized. Then, if you have allocated time and you are being attentive, but but you don't have the ability to prioritize things. Which is of more importance, which is of less importance. That also you need to have the discrimination. So that is called priority management. So time management, attention management and priority management. List all your tasks, understand which is a priority. Checking Instagram reels may not be the priority for you. You can check once in a while for an entertainment, but you can't just spend 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours in doing that only. So attention management and priority management. So with that, you can be more effective in your attempts for self-preservation in your studies and career. Then you can save some time for self-realization. That's how you can bring both lives together under one umbrella of Krishna consciousness. Does it make sense? Any questions or comments?
But Krishna said that the Dadami Buddhi Yogam, who is fully surrendered to Krishna, he gives the intelligence to make it balance.
Correct. Are we fully surrendered? That's the question.
That is,
You said to fully surrendered souls, Krishna will give intelligence. Are we fully surrendered? Surrendered. So we are trying to surrender, and Krishna already gave some intelligence to us. Let us use that intelligence to manage the schedules properly so that we save time for this seva. Any other question or comment? Yes, Mathis. Even from the youngsters.
Yeah, I'm actually requesting everyone to give the youth a chance to ask questions because this is a youth program. But Mataji, I think you can, if it's a quick one, you can ask.
Sorry. The question is, if we worry too much, sometimes the worry takes up so much of our time that we are not able to manage time at all. So what do we do in that situation?
Anxiety management. Yeah. Worry or stress is inevitable in certain situations. But some kind of worry is required. When we are worrying little bit about something, we are serious about it. But when we are not worrying at all, either we are super confident about it or we are neglectful, we are indifferent towards it. So, some amount of worry is good. That only indicates that we are valuing that thing to happen. So that kind of worry is good. But if the worry plunges you into some negative zone of too much of mental stress and too much of tension, then you become imbalanced. That kind of worry is not good. So if you take a rubber band, if you just see the rubber band, it may be like 1 inch wide. You can insert 10 papers into that rubber band which has 1 inch diameter. But it has more potential. You expand it, you stretch it, then you can put 100 papers into it. So it has more potential to accommodate more papers. You can roll it and put inside it. But if you overstretch it, it will break. And when rubber band breaks, it will hurt your hand also. Have you seen that? So don't overstretch it. So as long as you are stretching the rubber band within certain limits, that is good. That kind of helps you grow up to your full potential. But if you are overstretching it, you will break down. Similarly, worry also, as long as your worry or anxiety or anxiousness to get something done is helping you become more productive and grow up to your full potential, that is good. But if that worry is making you break down and become depressed and demotivated and discouraged, then that worry is not good. Some worry is good for us. Any other question?
How do you decide how much time to allocate to spiritual activities and material activities? Like, let's say spiritual activities like chanting or reading. We can do the bare minimum required, or we can really go like the extra mile and fully into it. Likewise for academics as well. Like for me, I can do the bare minimum to get a decent grade, or I can really go the extra mile and try to like achieve better, and that too will be indirectly so that I can serve Krishna better. But you can't really go the extra mile and do both with your additional time. So how do you really allocate that additional time into either spiritual or academic or professional activities?
Good. Whether it is an academic activity or a professional activity or a spiritual activity, more than allocating time, we need to develop a taste for things. You may allocate time for your academics, but if you don't love it, love that subject, even if you spend 10 hours, you won't be able to get it. Similarly, you may allocate time for chanting or other spiritual activities, but if you don't love spiritual activities, if you don't develop that taste for either chanting or hearing or reading or worshipping, the time allocation, mere time allocation is not sustainable. You may do it as a duty for some time, but as long as you are in the duty platform and not coming to the love platform, its sustainability is questionable. So I would say that yes, for all practical purposes, you allocate some time and try to maximize time for spiritual activities, but more than that, develop some taste. Cultivate some taste. And how do you cultivate the taste? Taste is cultivated by associating with people who have taste. You want to chant? You may do bare minimum as you said. Say, well, I will chant 4 rounds or 8 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is what I can manage. Fine. But if you have more time one day, you have some college holidays, vacation, say 1 month, you don't have much to do academically or professionally. So that time also, if you are chanting only 8 rounds, then you have not fully cultivated the taste. Right? Oh, now I have more time, so let me do more. Basically, when you have taste, you look forward to doing it. Not like a duty, but with eagerness, with zeal, with excitement. So we should feel that excitement. Like sometimes people may have excitement to see Instagram reel. They are looking forward that space, little space. When will I see the social media posts? There's some excitement to watch that movie. Okay, so that kind of zeal we need to develop for spiritual life also, whether it is studying scriptures or chanting the holy names. And same thing with academics also to some degree. Knowing that it is only for self-preservation, bodily maintenance, there is no eternal relevance for it. When you are chanting, it's eternally relevant. Whatever spiritual credits that you earn in one lifetime will carry forward and will be with you for the rest of eternity, even in the next life also. But if you do BTech in this lifetime, you cannot start with MTech in the next life. Right? If you made 50% spiritual advancement in this life, next life you can start from 51% also. Right? But here it's not like that. So, but whether it is temporary purpose or permanent purpose, whether it is immediate purpose or ultimate purpose, whether it is the purpose of self-realization or self-preservation, some liking should be there in it. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. Does that make sense? Does it answer your question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the very nice and relevant class. I wanted to ask, what do you think is more important between increasing quality or quantity of chanting?
Good question. Ultimately, quality is important. But for all practical purposes, we need to commit to a basic quantity. Some minimum amount of sadhana I will do, despite having not much quality. Right? Although quality is not so great, at least let me make this commitment of chanting the 16 rounds. For example, we keep 16 as a minimum quality requirement, quantity. Okay, and beyond that you can chant 32 or 64, whatever number you can chant. But acharyas have prescribed that okay, this is the minimum you should chant. So it may take 1.5 hours. For some people it may take 2 hours. So we keep that minimum quantity, at least the basic minimum quantity which is prescribed, and work on your quality. So that's what is recommended. So some basic amount of quantity is required, Otherwise, I'm unable to chant with full quality of feeling. So let me not chant with it.
So between someone who is doing 16 rounds of the best quality versus someone who's maybe doing 8 rounds of better focused quality, who do you think is in the better?
I have a question. You asked me a question, I have another question. Between someone who is eating very delicious food, excellent food, which is made of best ingredients, very nutritious, very tasty, very high class, top class pizza, burger, whatever you may call, whatever it is. So that they are eating, say, one small piece of very finely prepared pizza. Okay, only one piece, little piece, in 24 hours. Okay, which is this much, not even this big cone, this much. And someone who is eating simple rice, dal, or not so very well prepared, having fine ingredients in the meal, but they are eating 3 times reasonable quantity. Who is better?
Second one.
So
Thank you.
sometimes the mind may say that instead of chanting 16 rounds which are not so attentive, let me chant 1 round, let me chant half round, let me not chant only. If I chant, I chant only with quality, with absorption, with the tears in the eyes. Then only I will chant, otherwise no chanting. Because the logic behind this is, when you are chanting that basic amount of 16 rounds, we are being submissive to the instructions of a superior, of an acharya. Ultimately, Krishna sees the quality of your submissiveness, your alignment with the instructions of the scriptures and acharyas and gurus. So that submissiveness that we show in front of a representative of Krishna will attract the mercy of Krishna, and he will increase taste for chanting in us. He will bring us to the right quality. Right? So basic minimum quantity is required.
Thank you.
The food is tasty or not, exciting or not, kuch to jana chahiye andar. Something we should for our survival. Okay, we conclude here. One more question can take. Any other question? Okay. Thank you. यथा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai Hind, Gauranga Darshan.